You're about to see some of the most amazing home video that's ever reached us here at Sightings. It was shot by an amateur photographer standing on a bluff above an English wheat field. It may be the first real evidence that crop circles are formed by extraterrestrial forces. Or it may be a hoax. But if it is a hoax, it's a very good one. Watch carefully. You are about to see the creation of a crop circle.
This is amazing.
If this video is genuine, it is the Holy Grail, because we have something that absolutely proves crop circles are formed without human intervention.
I can see the temptation to want to run with it and believe it simply at face value, but that will do all of us no good whatsoever. So we have to be extremely careful.
World-renowned crop circle experts Colin Andrews and Peter Sorensen were among the first to see the extraordinary video. They were astonished because the amateur home video seems to prove the researchers' hypotheses that there is a connection between crop circles and the so-called mystery lights often sighted in the same area.
The cameraman is pointing his camera towards a wheat field. Into the right-hand side of the frame suddenly appears two small spheres, moving from right to left. The spheres then take a course, a semi-ring around the field. Suddenly in the center of the field, the central circle is formed, and 6 circles on the ends of the arms are also in position. The third phase comes when 2 more spheres appear from the east, and then the connecting pathways, the arms, drop into position.
I must say, at the very beginning, I thought, wow, this feels right. You know, this guy seems genuine about everything. And it wasn't until I began to watch it frame by frame that I began to be suspicious of things.
Sorensen is particularly suspicious because the man holding the camera seems to know what will happen before it does.
A very important thing to look for on this video is that during this key shot, the camera seems to be wiggling a little bit like it's a handheld camera. If it is a handheld camera, how come he didn't follow the lights when they go off screen? Instead, he's already exactly where the crop circle is going to be.
Could someone have created this videotape using computer graphics and other special effects? Jim Pilotoso is an animation expert who has analyzed the video.
There's no evidence that this is a hoax. I'm not saying that it's real. I'm saying that there's no evidence of a hoax.
The people I've worked with in computer animation studios could do this kind of thing in about 4 hours.
People are fooled by what complex and simple computers can do. This is like that. We're trying to determine, like in Forrest Gump, if Forrest Gump was really shaking hands with John Kennedy. It's not enough to say, oh, yes, it's a fake. Well, how was it faked?
Unlike other analysts, Pilotoso claims to have no personal bias in this case.
When we test video, the temptation is to go into it with the presupposition, it's real and I'm going to find a way to prove it. Or the temptation is to say, it's a hoax and I'm going to prove how it's a hoax. What we have to do is enter into the testing to gather data, and then we can draw a conclusion.
What is certain, of course, is that the formation, the pattern we see forming on this video did appear. I mean, it is physical. It was there in the field. We've seen it, measured it at ground level. We've filmed it from the air. It is real. That is undoubtedly true. But the team working with me that entered that field, they didn't like what they saw. They saw many footprints. They saw compression of the soil. They saw plants that were heavily damaged and a spiraling symmetry, which was highly suspicious.
If the tape is a hoax, Pilotoso says, it was not created with computer tricks.
Every camera, whether home or professional, every tape deck has areas in between the frames, just like in a strip of movie film. There's space in between the frames. In video, there's information in that space, and that information is called the vertical interval. There is no evidence in the vertical interval of digital processing, meaning no paint box, no computer, no tampering with the signal.
And there is no evidence that the photographer has made substantial financial or personal gains, bolstering his legitimacy.
What we hear is the person we assume to be the camera operator says, "This is amazing."
This is amazing.
But when we analyze the voice using psychological stress evaluation, this person's a little bit nervous.
This is amazing.
And the nature of the breathing changes rapidly, as if the body was introduced to a moment of stress. Point of the story. Doesn't seem like this guy is lying or acting.
Sorensen is not as charitable.
Suddenly we click to this fairly tight, limited motion shot, and now he's saying, this is amazing. Now, frankly, if it was me, I'd be using four-letter words to say, wow, this is fantastic. You know, that's what I would have been saying. But he says, oh, this is amazing. I mean, how? That's too British.
But what has the photographer to gain? He hasn't made a bundle or become a media sensation. Why create such a hoax?
This is an important tape, because what you see on the tape represents either a hoax or it represents a truly significant clue, a key, a demonstration into what this means. There's tremendous evidence that the crop circles are very meaningful, very significant, and are being made by someone other than Earth people.
I guess I want to believe it's real, but we must still, with the facts, we don't want to see a myth in the making, and that is what this might turn out to be.
The problem with the crop circle video is the same problem researchers are having with the Roswell autopsy film. The photographers refuse to come forward publicly. This is perhaps the strongest case for the video and the film being hoaxes. If you shot historic, legitimate footage, wouldn't you want people to know who you are?